Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Yes, we will see the return of Kaido, and not as an enemy, but as an ally who will sacrifice himself to protect Luffy in One Piece, and you'll find out how in today's video. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Let's start by tracing the scales of this theory through the trail Kaido has left across the saga. Kaido appears as an invincible Titan in chapter 795, dominating Wano like a hurricane of scales and a mace, obsessed with a war that could devastate the world. He ate the Uo no Mi, Model Seiryu, turning into a blue dragon that breathes fire and causes earthquakes, but his soul is a well of mysteries. In chapter 1049, during the climax of Wano, Luffy defeats him with a colossal punch that sends him to lava-filled hell, yet Kaido smiles, murmuring that Joy Boy is the one who will bring him down. This isn't just a farewell, it's a clue. Kaido, who spent his life hunting Joy Boy, as seen in chapter 1044 when Zunisha announces the return of the legendary warrior in Luffy, might still be alive, secretly simmering for a spectacular return. He doesn't truly die. Pirates like him are as resilient as stretched rubber. The theory is Kaido, traumatized by the past and fascinated by Joy Boy, returns to ally with the Straw Hat and makes a heroic sacrifice against Imu, the shadow villain who controls everything. Now, let's connect Kaido to the Joy Boy enigma with evidence as sharp as his mace. In chapter 1044, Luffy awakens Gear 5, becoming the avatar of Nika, the sun god, and Zunisha cries out that Joy Boy has returned. Kaido, in the middle of the fight, laughs and questions whether Luffy is the chosen one he had been waiting for. This isn't a coincidence. Kaido mentions in chapter 1049 that Joy Boy is the only one capable of changing the world, echoing his own quest for a glorious death in battle. He wanted to be defeated by someone legendary, and Luffy delivers that. But what if this defeat is the catalyst for Kaido's rebirth? He falls into lava, but dragons like him survive hellfire. Think of the Japanese folklore that inspires Oda, where yokai like Kaido are immortal until fulfilling their destiny. In chapter 1160, the God Valley flashback shows a young Kaido as a novice pirate in the Rocks Pirates, witnessing chaos that shapes his obsession with Joy Boy. There, he sees the potential of a warrior who defies gods, planting the seed for a future alliance, entering the dark territory of Imu-sama, the villain who makes the Gorosei look like puppets. Imu appears in chapter 906 at the Reverie, sitting on the empty throne as the invisible master of the world government. In chapter 1085, he reveals a terrifying power, destroying Lelouch with a celestial beam that evaporates entire islands. Imu is the opposite of Joy Boy, a tyrant eternal, who in chapter 1116, Vegapunk accuses of orchestrating the Void Century, sinking the ancient world to maintain control. Kaido, with his hunger for apocalyptic war, fits as an unlikely ally against this. In chapter 1162, the God Valley flashback explodes with Kaido, Whitebeard, and the Rocks Pirates facing Imu, who possesses Saturn and unleashes overwhelming haki. Kaido transforms into a dragon for the first time there, fighting the god threatening everything. This isn't just past, it's foreshadowing. Kaido saw Imu as the true enemy, the one who crushes dreams of freedom. His obsession with Joy Boy is born from this. He wants a hero to defeat this dark monster. Let's weave this hypothetical alliance with hints Oda scatters like loose scales. Kaido, in chapter 1049, falls laughing, accepting defeat as the end of his solitary quest. But pirates like him don't vanish. Think Big Mom, who survived similar explosions. Kaido could emerge from the depths of Wano, regenerated by his mythical fruit, and recognize Luffy as the Joy Boy he had been waiting for since God Valley. In chapter 1160, we see Kaido during the incident as a pawn in Imu's games, perhaps traumatized by possession or the divine haki sensed by Garp and Roger in chapter 1162. This explains his thirst for suicidal battle. He wants to die fighting something greater like Imu. The theory takes flight. Kaido returns during the final arc, perhaps in Mario Joie, to help Luffy against Imu. He transforms fully into a dragon, breathing fire against Imu's shadows, but sacrifices himself to give Luffy the opening for a liberating punch. Looking back at past arcs to solidify this, in chapter 795, Kaido jumps from a sky island to test his immortality, surviving unscathed. This proves his resilience. Lava? Easy for a dragon. In chapter 1044, he tests Luffy as Joy Boy, saying the world needs a savior. Kaido isn't a pure villain. He's a broken warrior, as seen in the flashback of his past with King, seeking a king who could change everything. Imu, revealed in chapter 906 as the controller, is the perfect antithesis. In chapter 1085, Imu uses dark power to obliterate kingdoms. Kaido, with his mace and fire, could be the flaming shield Luffy needs. In chapter 1116, Vegapunk exposes Imu as the sinner of the void. Kaido, obsessed with legends, could return to redeem his role in God Valley, sacrificing himself so Joy Boy triumphs where the Rocks pirates fail, imagining the return with excitement. Kaido emerges from the depths in a future chapter, but based on chapter 1049, where he accepts Joy Boy, he flies to Marijois during the final assault. In chapter 1120, Imu destroys islands with lightning. Kaido intercepts one, roaring that only Joy Boy can change the world. He fights Imu while possessed by a Gorosi, as in chapter 1162, where his young dragon faces divine haki. Kaido sacrifices himself, taking a fatal blow to expose Imu's weakness, shouting to Luffy, "Finish this, Joy Boy!" This honors his quest for an epic death, transforming the villain into a tragic hero, connecting with God Valley to deepen the story. In chapter 1160, Kaido is the weakest there, but in chapter 1162, he awakens his dragon against Imu. This suggests a debt to destiny. Kaido survived to fight again, helping Joy Boy's heir against the same enemy. In chapter 1044, his laugh at losing to Luffy is acceptance. He returns to pay karma. Imu, in chapter 1085, is immortal. Kaido, with his eternal fruit, is the perfect counterpoint for a sacrifice that breaks that immortality. What stands out in his relationship with Joy Boy is Kaido's belief that only through immeasurable power could someone challenge the status quo and change the course of history. He recognizes in Luffy the embodiment of Joy Boy, and when defeated by him, Kaido sees the possibility of redemption, not for himself, but for the world. His acceptance of his defeat and the way he smiles in chapter 1049, indicating that he has finally found what he was looking for, is key to understanding Kaido's evolution. This is not a final farewell, but a transition to something greater. Kaido would not truly die, because as an almost immortal creature, he still has a role to play in a larger context. Now, when connecting Kaido's return to the final confrontation with Imu, the theory gains even more weight. Imu, as the hidden master of the world government, represents the opposite of everything Kaido stands for. While Kaido is a warrior, seeking challenges and wishing to see the world change, Imu is the personification of absolute control and stagnation. The conflict between them is not just a physical fight, but a battle of ideals. Kaido is the warrior who, despite his dark past, seeks the world's liberation. Imu, on the other hand, wants to keep everything under his rule, creating a world where he remains untouchable, manipulating everything from the shadows. If we consider that Kaido could re-emerge at a critical moment in the battle against Imu, he would become a kind of tragic hero. His death would no longer be a defeat, but a calculated sacrifice. A final move to ensure that Luffy, the true heir of Joy Boy, has the chance to defeat the real evil lurking in the shadows. Kaido, with his regenerative ability and unmatched resilience, could rise from the depths of Wano after recovering, entering the final battle alongside Luffy, perhaps even intercepting a devastating attack from Imu against the Alliance. In doing so, Kaido would not only reclaim his own redemption, but also serve as a catalyst for the tyrant's fall, breaking Imu's immortality. This vision of Kaido as a heroic sacrifice also makes sense in terms of his relationship with other characters, like King, and even with the idea of being the king of the world. During his time with King, Kaido always sought a greater purpose, a reason for his existence beyond simply causing destruction. He saw in Luffy the opportunity to change the world, but also knew that he could not be the savior. This reflects his deep desire to be surpassed by someone greater, someone who represents true change, and Luffy, as Joy Boy, is that figure. Moreover, Kaido's connection with Joy Boy is not just an obsession with legendary power, but a recognition that his own journey is tied to something far greater than himself. The battle against Imu would become the final step for Kaido to truly redeem his own sins and contribute to changing the world. His sacrifice would not only give Luffy the chance to confront Imu directly, but also symbolize the fall of the old power system, a system represented by Imu, which usurps the world's true freedom. Considering the flashbacks of God Valley where Kaido, Whitebeard, and the Rocks pirates clashed, it becomes clear that Kaido already has a history of confronting forces that challenge the world's balance. He may not have been the strongest there, but he recognized the true threat in Imu, and this shaped his obsession with a fight that could break this cycle of oppression. He knew that to destroy the system that imprisons the world, a hero would be needed, and that hero would be Luffy, the true Joy Boy. If Kaido returns to help Luffy against Imu, he would not only serve as an unexpected ally, but also fulfill his destiny, being the final obstacle that must be overcome before the new era begins. His ultimate sacrifice would not be a moment of villainy, but a turning point that transforms his journey from a cycle of destruction into a story of redemption. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.